What's up, beautiful people? Namaste and blessings, and thank you so much for being here. Today I'm feeling guided to share a little bit about Venus entering into the energy of Aries. Very powerful energy. Very, very powerful energy, you guys. I have my notes here, so I'm going to be reading and just sharing, all right? I'm not here to impose anything into anyone, so feel free to, take what resonates with you, who you are, and where you are on your journey, and just let it be, all right? So first of all, Venus and Aries, all right? Venus represents love, beauty, relationships, harmony. Venus is a planet that is seeking harmony, balance, pleasure, connection. Venus desires intimacy, reciprocity, vulnerability, sensory experiences, reciprocity in communication and spiritual understanding when it comes to giving and receiving and creating from a place of inner harmony where my masculine and my feminine are dancing together, and I'm experiencing a deep sense of belonging, loving acceptance, just the energy of a vibration of love, right? Because I feel and I deeply believe that when we're talking about love, it's the frequency, it's an energy, is the language of the Creator, the language of our Divine Mother, Father. And so when we're dealing with Venus, right, Venus is gonna say, hey, do you really love yourself? Do you accept yourself? Right? But this is just beyond I am saying things, but I am acting on it, right? Do I really embody self-worth, self-respect? Do I really care for myself, for my temple? Do I really care for others too, because Venus speaks of reciprocity. And then it's really about honoring the sacredness of our human experience. Venus is about our relationship with life in this physical vessel, and what is to experience wants and desires. The Creator gave us desires, and so we are here to master and gain wisdom when it comes to spiritually understanding what is to be a human and move through the understanding of why do we have the desires we have, and when is a desire and when is a want, and our capacity to show up in a way that is harmonious, right? Because when we are in denial, when we are rejecting our Venus, we go to extremes. So here we go, right? Welcome to the human experience. All right, so now we're gonna talk about Aries. Aries is the alpha, is the beginning, is I am assertive, is the principle of assertiveness, is action, will, determination, right? The I am. It's about courage, it's about individuality. It's ruled by the planet Mars. Okay, so it's masculine energy. And it's often associated with leading, starting things, being committed, commitment, the spiritual warrior. All right, it's about showing up accordingly. It's not the warrior that is so protective and rejecting life and pushing people away or defensive. It's about our capacity to show up and have commitment and have emotional maturity and be so centered within ourselves to where, we have the capacity to communicate with vulnerability. This is really about not being afraid to show up with the fullness of who we are. You know what I mean? As humans, I feel like I'm repeating in that, but what I want to say is about our humanness and how we have to navigate emotions because we are emotional beings, right? So now we're going to talk about the dynamic and the polarities. This is very important. So active versus receptive, right? Aries is an active masculine sign ruled by Mars, emphasizing action and initiation, right? Venus, on the other hand, embodies a receptive feminine energy that seeks to attract and harmonize rather than chase or compete. So this is the polarity where we are right now, where there are people who still are functioning from the old ways, the old patriarchal system, the chase, the wanting to make things happen, the manipulation, because I might be attached to outcomes, is about competition, comparison, right? And remember, when I talk about this, I have no problem recognizing that I have those shadows, all right? I'm not afraid of the fullness of my humanness and my human experience. Like, I do have spiritual understanding, right? So people might be experiencing right now like power struggles, not just within you, but also when it comes to relationship or your relationship with others, or your relationship with your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. There might be like a push and pull. There might be like an energy of, once again, going to extremes of feeling very uncomfortable, right? And so what is the key here? Well, recognize what are your heart desires. When are you experiencing wants? What is the difference between that? If you're comparing yourself, why? What is that revealing about you? You know, how can you support yourself if you are going through the aspect where your feminine is not feeling safe? If you're not channeling your creativity, if you're not showing up for your divine feminine, then what, right? Because how are you suppressing your creativity? How are you suppressing your spiritual gifts and your talents, right? Once again, Aries, right, is about leading. And for me, in 2026, the age of Aquarius is about inspiration. It's leading by, inspiring the world. So how are you showing up for your divine feminine? How do you create the space in order for her to grow and to be free? You know what I mean? We have then passion versus impulsiveness, right? That's the polarity. While Venus seeks beauty and pleasure in Aries, this pursuit takes on an impulsive nature, often leading to passionate but sometimes brief situations encounters. There's a willingness to take bold actions for love and desire. So here we are, right? When we're talking about relationships and passion. What is your relationship with the primal energy within you? Are you someone who's afraid of commitment? Are you someone who just seeks to live life through being impulsive in reactions instead of understanding the sacredness of what is to be committed, right? And so once again, power dynamics, right? It is important to be grounded when it comes to our choices, our decisions. And Venus in Aries is going to say, well, if you love yourself, what is in your heart desires and how are you showing up for what you desire? You know, how are you building your life? How are you structuring your life? How are you creating your life? What is it that you really, really, really within you want to experience? Now, what is the mind is saying? What is here in your heart? What is it that you deeply desire to experience? Maybe it's commitment. Maybe it's reciprocity. Maybe it's building connection. Maybe it's friendship. Maybe it's manifesting your dreams and your goals. But you know how many times we go into the mind and we create narratives and justifications and stories, and we reject opportunities, life, people. Okay? Then when we're talking about archetypes and in mythology, right, the lover and the warrior, Venus and Aries, can embody the archetype of a passionate lover who is also a warrior, pursuing desires and pleasures with courage and determination. So this is about our dance with life, right? Being a spiritual warrior means I'm not afraid to take on life. I'm not afraid to show up accordingly. I don't have to be fighting. I don't have to be chasing. I don't have to be imposing my morals and my ideas onto others. You know, and a spiritual warrior understands the sacredness of a human experience, have the capacity to hold the space for others and meet them where they are without having to feel like, okay, I have the right to be in entitlement to be judging people. And not to say that we are not meant to judge, because we are always fucking judging. I don't care what people say, we're always judging. What matters is where am I judging from and who's the judge within. We have a judge within, right? So how are you going to practice discernment if you're not judging, right? And so, yeah, these transit, it really does encourage people to acknowledge what is within their heart desires. What is it that you desire, and how can you open yourself with vulnerability, with courage, with strength, right? How can you open the channels for communication? How can you open the channels for manifestation? All right, Venus in Aries is, are you ready to embrace life and relationships differently? Are you ready to meet from a place of where we are honoring each other and not competing, right? Or where we are like, okay, this is about building, this is about connection, this is about being assertive. This is what is in my heart desires, and I'm here, and I'm gonna show up, and we're gonna do the thing. So you can call it for romantic relationships, so this can be about collaborations and partnerships. And once again, we have to be careful with going to extremes to where we deny ourselves. For we deny ourselves, and what we do, we detach, we escape into our logical, we create justifications, we reject opportunities for love, for connection, for reciprocity, for experiencing abundance, resources, and in true, a life that is filled with purpose. All right, may you be blessed in your journey. Thank you so much for listening, and I see you when I see you.